All right, so let's take a look at an example of cracking the Affine cipher. So let's say we were given a piece of ciphertext and we did some analysis on it, and we saw that um, D was the most frequent letter that was showing up in the ciphertext, and C was the least frequent letter showing up in the ciphertext. And so with that, we are going to take a guess that E gets encrypted to D, all right? And we're going to guess that Z gets encrypted to C, all right? We're going to guess that Z was the least frequent letter showing up in the plain text message. So, okay, this is our guess. We don't know if it's right, but we're going to assume it's right and then see if the decrypted message we come up with actually looks like English. All right, so this first one right here, in terms of numbers, this means that 4 is being turned into 3. And for the next one, in terms of numbers, Z is 25, and that is being turned into the number 2, because that's C. All right, and so what that means is our equation, S times X plus T, all right, we can use that to set up two equations that represent these transformations right here. All right, so in particular, we have S times 4 plus T. All right, so I'm taking 4, and when I encrypt it, I'm going to get 3 out. All right, so that is this first equation right here. And the next equation says S times 25 plus T is going to equal 2. All of this is mod 26. All right, and when we take a look at this, what we see here is a system of equations, just like we worked on in algebra. So we have two equations, we have two unknowns, all right, S and T. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use our typical methods for solving for those two unknowns. And so the first thing that we can do is we can subtract the two equations, all right? And this will eliminate the T. All right, so we get 4 times S minus 25 times S is equal to 3 minus 2, mod 26. All right, so 4S minus 25S, that gives me a negative 1S, is equal to 1. All right, this is mod 26. And now we can go to the calculator on eCrypt and figure out that negative 21, well, that's the same thing as 5S in mod 26. All right, and so now we want to get S all by itself. So we want to multiply both sides by something, by the inverse of 5, all right, so that the 5 will basically disappear. And so we go to our calculator on eCrypt and we figure out that if we multiply both sides by 21, 21 times 5 is equal to 1. So if I multiply both sides by 21, all this will disappear and I'll just be left with S, and of course I'll be left with 21 on the right-hand side. And so this tells me that my multiplicative key, S, is equal to 21. And so now, to figure out what T is, all I do is I take this S and I plug it into one of these two equations. So I'll take the top equation. All right, so 4 times 21 plus T is equal to 3. All right, so 4 times 21, that's going to be 6 plus T is equal to 3. I subtract the 6 over, I get T is equal to 3 minus 6, which is negative 3. And of course, this is all mod 26. And then I use my calculator or my brain or whatever and figure out that negative 3, that's the same thing as 23. All right, and so now I have my multiplicative key and my shift key. So now I can plug both of those into my equation here and decrypt, or really plug them into the eCrypt software and decrypt my ciphertext and check, all right? Because we're not done yet. This is not necessarily the answer. The last step is very important. Check. All right, we need to use eCrypt and check and see if these keys are in fact correct. Because if I decrypt it and I still get gobbledygook, that means that the keys aren't right, obviously. And what that means is that my guesses up here were wrong. All right, the statistical analysis isn't perfect. Maybe it's not Z that goes to C. Maybe this was supposed to be Q. Or maybe it's not E. Maybe it's T is actually the most frequent letter this particular time. Okay, so always, always, always you have to check your work and see if it actually is the right key. And if not, you head right back up here and you make a different guess. Okay, so this is how you crack the Affine cipher, and you will get plenty of experience with this in class.